Number 13, we are now doing a circle graph. It says in the circle graph below shows how the combined expenses for Everman concrete projects is divided by regions. If the amount budgeted for the western region and northern region is $1,640,000, what are the total expenses of the company? Well, we really haven't talked about percents a whole lot, so you kind of need to know about percents. What we need to know is that the percent times the total is equal to the part. For our formula, if you take 12% of the total of the pie chart, you get the part spent on the western region or whatever it is. So I'm doing the western region and the northern region. The western region is 12% of the pie chart. The northern region is 29%. So if I take 12 plus 29, 41% is my percent. So it's saying that 41% of the total is equal to the part that they spent, the $1,640,000. Now when I'm working with percents, I don't put it in with a percent on my calculator. I have to change the percent to a decimal. 41% means 41 out of 100. 41 divided by 100 is 0.41. The easy way to change a percent to a decimal is take the decimal and move it back 2 places. You're dividing by 100. So if I move it back 2 places, we're using 0.41 times my total equals my part. Now we did that little section on algebra. In order to solve this for the total, we have to do the opposite of multiplying to move this to the other side. So what we're doing is we're dividing by that 0.41. So I'm going to take my 1,640,000. I'm going to divide it by 0.41, and so I get 4 million for the total of what the pie chart is. And that would make sense if I spent $1,640,000 on just 2 of these. If I have all of the sections together, I have to have a bigger number, 4 million. Number 14 says the circle amount shows the annual budget divided by the department. If the budgeted amount for sales, engineering, and editorial combined is $29 million, what is the total budget again? So the percent times the total equals my part. So even though that seems like a really big number, that's only part of that whole pie chart. We did sales, 16%, engineering, 17%, and editorial, 7%. So 16 plus 17 plus 7 means we have 40%. 40% is the decimal, 0.40, right? 2 places backwards, or take 40 divided by 100. We are trying to find the total if we know that only part of our pie chart is 29,600,000. So again, in order to solve that, we have to do the opposite of multiplying, which means we're going to divide by that 40%. So 29,600,000 divided by 0.40 gives me 74 million for the total of the entire pie chart. And the last one here, they did the same thing. I wish they was going to give you a different one. Let me just kind of quickly figure this out, and I'm going to change the problem here. Insurance, housing, and clothing. Insurance is 10, housing is 21, and clothing is 16, 47%. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this number here. Pretend you don't know that that's there. We're going to say the total of the pie chart is $100,000. We want to find what part was spent on these three things: insurance, housing, and clothing. So if it's worded this way, where you know what the total amount is and you're just trying to find part of the circle, we think about the formula. Percent times the total equals the part. My percent on insurance, housing, and clothing. 10 plus 21 plus 16 is 47%. I suppose I should write 47% out first. 47%. 47% as a decimal, we move the decimal 2 places, so 0.47 times my total. My total, 100,000, is equal to my part. If my formula looks like this, I'm just going to go ahead and multiply these two things together because they're on the same side of the equation. So I'm going to take 0.47 times 100,000. And we get 47,000 spent on those three items, which I knew what it was supposed to be, and that's why I worked it backwards. So you will have some that look like this instead of like the previous ones, and so I just wanted to give you a little different variation of what it might look like if they say find the part spent on 2 or 3 of the items. You're just going to go ahead and multiply times the total in order to find your answer.